Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6 round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, once again, as always, Eddie Mercado, fresh off watching the
Hey.
Pirates get their asses absolutely beat by the Yankees.
It wasn't that bad though, because I grew up a Yankees fan. Because
Yeah.
my first little league team ever I was on the Yankees, so it was still a win for me. I don't have too much skin in the Pirates game to be upset
Sure.
about it.
Sure. I did check in though, like on the day that you were there. I was like, oh, I gotta see the Pirates getting their asses beat,
Oh,
which
it
they
was
were.
brutal. It was
Yeah.
so bad at one point. We had a guy. We had too much of a lead from first base, and the fucking pitcher picked him off. And the whole crowd started chanting, "Sell the team! Sell the team!" They
Yeah,
absolutely hate the owner there. it's
that's
amazing.
that's rough. All right. But we are here instead off of a much more joyous night of ass beatings. UFC 314, a real top quality UFC pay-per-view card. And man, it showed out. Like
Hell yeah.
it feels like we really got the best and worst of what the UFC is capable of back to back, where we got the Emmett Murphy card you missed, which looked horrible on paper and was absolutely horrible in practice. It's a terrible night of fights. And then we got the UFC 314 card, which looked fantastic on paper and was fantastic in practice. An
Yeah.
awesome night of fights. Ton of fun.
Yeah, I'm super happy with it. I feel like Pitbull didn't show up. A little disappointed in him.
Yeah,
But
but Yair did, so you know.
yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of knew that Pitbull wasn't, like, you watch tape from him for the past few years, and he has only become more of a cautious defensive counterpuncher. And the last time he beat a actually dangerous striker with that style was Michael Chandler. Like, he's fought a lot of guys and beat a lot of guys using that style who themselves are not actually dangerous enough to really make him pay for it. And then when he fought somebody like Chihiro Suzuki, he got blasted. So I was kind of like, I think he's probably going to be really slow and cautious against Yair Rodriguez, and Yair Rodriguez is going to blast him.
Yeah. Terrible stylistic matchup for him.
Yeah. Wouldn't have been so terrible like 5 years ago, but
sure,
at this point in his career, it's kind of terrible.
No, he's long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Good for Yair, though. He needed that.
Yeah. That was a great win for him, and he called for a title shot right afterward. I'm not as sure about that, but
Well, I think he said there was some backroom deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
where like they promised him that.
Good luck, Yair. You getting the UFC to follow through on promises.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm fine with him getting the title shot.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Movsar Evloev deserves it, but the
No,
UFC
he
hates
doesn't.
Movsar Evloev.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
No, the fuck he doesn't. For what?
For being on a great winning streak.
A great winning streak? A great winning streak.
I mean, it's a long, prodigious winning streak.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than coming off a terrible loss to Brian Ortega to get a win over the shell of Patricio Pitbull. Right? You got to admit that.
Nah, no.
Okay,
no.
Well.
That losing to the shell of Pitbull was fun. Like, that's enjoyable. Like, nothing Evloev does is enjoyable.
He still deserves it.
I don't want to hear that.
All right. Anyway.
Although I will say, I hope he feels some type of way watching Lopez get the fucking title shot tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if he were exciting, his ass would be in there.
It's true. But I mean, so yeah, let's get into that. The Alexander Volkanovski Diego Lopez fight. And this is, to your point, it is the the definition of be a thrilling fighter, and it does not take nearly as much to get you to title contention as being a good fighter, because Diego Lopez is thrilling, and he got to this fight with Volkanovski, and he had some thrilling moments in it, but it was also very clearly a title shot for a guy who doesn't really have a champion's game.
He could have easily won this fight. Him not being true to form is what him starting slow bit him in the ass here. Had he gotten going earlier with the pressure instead of just sitting back and letting Volk do Volk from range, this might have gone a different way.
Is Diego Lopez a pressure fighter? I don't think he is.
He's aggressive.
He is an aggressive counter puncher.
But he's aggressive. Like he's
aggressive.
He fights aggressively. There was nothing aggressive about his first round.
But you look at like the fights that Lopez has won, and you look at like his Brian Ortega fight. Brian Ortega charged in at him early in that fight and got crushed by the uppercut hook counter that Lopez loves.
Which is beautiful.
And after that, Lopez went after him because he'd already hurt him. And then he didn't, and the rest of that fight was a lot of Lopez being overly patient on his back foot. It was not a really pretty aggressive fight from Lopez after that hot start. You look at the Dan Ige fight, same kind of thing. The rest of that fight is not a super aggressive Diego Lopez. And then you look at, like Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini rushed out, and like Diego Lopez does great meeting guys who are over aggressive and making them pay for overextending. And that's just not what Volk does. He doesn't get over his feet when he's throwing.
No, he gets behind his feet when he moves backwards.
Yeah. The pressure definitely would have helped Lopez if he'd had it, but this is like exactly the fight I thought was going to happen for.
It's the fight I thought was going to happen as well. Like I picked Volk here.
Yeah.
It took a lot of deliberating. There was the doubt.
Oh, no, everybody and their mom thought that he is primed to just get slept in an instant and not tell us anything new, except that Volk might be done and Lopez can kill you in an instant if you give him that chance.
It was a valiant effort from Lopez.
It was.
If he would have just been on the front foot and been a little more aggressive in that opening round, we might have had a split decision here.
Could be. I don't know. I just think he's game until he learns to create more of his own offense. His game is just not going to be great for really high level fights. He's very reactive. It's very, oh, you take me down? Well, I'll show you what I can do with that. I'll twist you up into a pretzel, or you rush in and overextend on me.
It can be reactive.
I'll kill you.
It can be reactive, but he did fucking amazing against Volkanovski.
He did. No, he hurt him a couple of times, and there were arguments that he at least won 2 rounds out of this.
Yeah, I gave him 1, but I can see 2.
I gave him 1 too. So it is, it was a quality fight. It was a quality showing, and it was a great, classy veteran showing from Volkanovski. The thing I loved that I saw out of this fight that I thought was great was that Volkanovski recognized pretty early on that while Lopez is an absolutely ferocious killer combination counterpuncher, he always leaves his head on line when he's countering. So Volk would step in with the overhand and be braced to eat the uppercut, and then he would throw the hook over the uppercut and just hit Lopez every single time.
Not masterful.
Yeah.
The shit Volk was doing was masterful. His movement. And so, who was it that really pissed me off against Calvin Kattar?
Zalal.
Yeah. So remember how Zalal was on his bike like crazy?
Yeah.
Volk was on his bike also, but fucking throwing volume.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's fighting.
He's keeping the jab out in front of him.
Yeah, that's called fighting.
Yeah. He knows Lopez is the counter puncher. He's not coming to Lopez, because if you come to the counter puncher, that's when they're ready. He's making Lopez come to him and making him pay for it. There's still some questions in there. We still saw Volk. more than ever, he gets his feet together and his chin up as he's moving backwards. And he is really susceptible to the right kind of pressure. It's why he got slept by Topuria. It's why he got slept by Makhachev. That problem, when he got hurt by Lopez, at least once it was because of that. The problem isn't solved out there. But if you don't bring that kind of absolutely dogged striking pressure to Volkanovski, high output, high pressure, he's still hard as hell to beat.
You got to have the pressure. And that concerns me about Yair because he's content at kicking range. And you can't really do that with Volk.
No, I mean, we've already seen Volk Yair. And when Volk kind of backed up and gave Yair some space, Yair did pretty good for a couple of minutes of that fight. And then Volk just was like, wait, I don't have to give you this space, and went out and TKO'd him. You know? Just beat his ass. So, I don't know. I could have, if Lopez had won, I think Yair would have had a really big argument for that title shot because he and Lopez have a ton of beef over some gym war nonsense down in Mexico and all that.
Good.
They've got a lot of old beef to settle there. But with Volk winning the title, I would be surprised if they go back and say, let's do Yair Volk too.
Yeah, but who else would you do?
Evloev, clearly.
No. No. Come on now.
I mean, you've got Evloev, you've got the UFC's trying to get Aaron. They've got Aaron Pico. They're going to try to get him into a big fight here. They wanted to get him into a fight with Evloev. On that, to that.
Yeah, they said Evloev backed out of that.
Yeah, Joe Rogan said that.
Oh,
my thought is that Evloev probably knows that he's lined up for a title shot if he just waits long enough. And why would you fight Aaron Pico and be a potential stepping stone instead?
Give Arnold Allen the title shot.
Not doing Arnold Allen title shot. It's not going to happen.
I'd rather see that.
Evloev.
I would much rather see that than Evloev.
It's going to be Evloev. And I see people in here saying Lerone Murphy did beat Josh Emmett last week. But he would have to leapfrog a lot of people. And I just don't.
But like a lot of people that Volk's already beat.
Yeah, but I don't think the UFC hates Movsar Evloev enough to put Lerone Murphy in instead.
Yeah, maybe.
Was that Josh Emmett performance from Lerone Murphy the kind of thing that made you say, yeah, that's it. That's what I need.
No, they should fight each other.
Yeah.
Put Evloev and Murphy together.
Sure, but I think they're probably just going to find time to do Volk Evloev sometime in the future. They could do Murphy, and I wouldn't be against Murphy Evloev if they really just don't want. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of people too saying they're having a pay-per-view in Mexico, so that's another reason they might be. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. When is that book? Let me see. Let's see the UFC schedule here.
A pay-per-view in Mexico.
Yeah. Mexico City. Oh. It's not even on the schedule yet, so. But. Oh, wait, no, there it is. UFC 320, September 13th in Guadalajara. So.
Oh, that's right around the corner. But Volk said he wanted to be active.
Yeah. So they're probably right. It could easily be Yair versus Volk in Mexico, in Guadalajara. If the stars line up for that, that would make sense.
How about Ilia Topuria not being a champion right now?
I still think that's crazy. That's still, and not having the title shot like sewn up at lightweight too. Just being like floating out there, telling people he was promised a title shot for giving up the belt and all that. It's like, man.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. So, really, a solid performance from Volkanovski. Does not make me think that he's going to be keeping the title a super long time in this new
Not
iteration.
he'll keep it until John Silva comes up.
Yeah, I mean, and I love John Silva, but
Fuck
God,
yeah.
I don't want to see John Silva
I
just
know.
kill Volk.
But he's got the pressure, he's got the power,
Yeah.
he's got the style.
Yeah, solid performance from Volkanovski. Good old man performance from Diego Lopez. I mean, I like the confidence. I liked him coming out afterward and saying, I realize I lost, but physically I felt like I was competing in there, and I know I can come back and do it. Like that's the right way for him to approach this, is be like,
Yeah.
strategically it wasn't there, but physically
It was there late when he started coming
Yeah.
forward, being the aggressor.
Yeah.
He went Terminator for a brief moment there in the final round.
Yeah.
That's what he needed to do in this fight.
Yeah, and he might need to change up camps for that too, honestly. Like
Maybe.
that Lobo gym, they've brought some fighters up to title contention. Grasso was even champ, but it does not feel like they've done well adjusting games to high level fights. So he might need to, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. He did fucking amazing in this fight.
No, he did.
So I mean, the tweaks he needs to make aren't
They're not
many.
huge.
Yeah, very small, few and far between. Even if anything, this was a strategic mistake.
Yeah. So, yeah, really, I mean, it wasn't, a knockout or anything, but fantastic top level featherweight title.
Oh, the whole
fight.
time I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
And that's doesn't happen that often in the UFC
No.
anymore. I got to admit.
No, this was a card of being on the edge of my seat, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get now to Paddy Pimblett, Michael Chandler, and man, I mean,
are you a believer?
You know what? I kind of have to be. Like, it was one thing when Bobby Green was shook out there against Pimblett, and you're like, okay, Bobby Green's really collapsing to the pressure of like being in Manchester, having all these screaming fans, Pimblett looking huge and all that. But I'm like, in Miami, Michael Chandler, even old Michael Chandler, is just always yoked. He's not going to be intimidated. Michael Chandler was super intimidated by Paddy Pimblett.
Paddy was huge.
It is a fucking optical illusion. I do not understand it. This man is listed at 5'10". The moment a fight is over and he's like standing, in an interview or something, I'm like, yeah, whatever. He's 5'10". That's fine. Normal sized guy. In the moment a fight starts, it's like he just grows and he's suddenly like 6'2".
He goes full Mario and eats one of the mushrooms and gets bigger.
It's wild. Like,
this was an incredible performance.
It was.
He manhandled Michael Chandler. Like, he got out grappled there in the first round a little bit, but didn't take much damage. Wasn't really in any serious danger. Got back to his feet, and as the fight went on, I don't like. Usually Chandler can scramble or like. He fought Oliveira the second time. He at least made it fun.
Even when he gets tired, usually he just keeps going and keeps being powerful and keeps being dangerous.
He got mauled.
He did. He got mauled. And like the thing, like by the time Pimblett knocked him down or hit him with that knee.
Ooh. Oh, like split his cheek.
Chandler, because Chandler Hoofton was in Chandler's corner, and he's like telling him, he's like, you need to put multiple punches together. You can't go in there and just try to wing one shot at this guy. But you could see right after that, Chandler goes out there and he's stepping in on Pimblett, and Pimblett like starts to move his way, and Chandler just put both hands up like this, and he's still moving forward with just his hands in place. And it's like, that is the definition of like fighting shook, where you're trying to be aggressive, but you're so worried about what's coming back at you that you're just already like, it's like you're moving into this man. What are you doing? That knee he had no idea it was coming. Like,
man, I'm thoroughly impressed with what Patty did out there.
No,
I didn't think it was. I thought it was going to be a much closer fight.
Yeah,
but no, he's that dude. He is dude.
He is 100% in there, being the lightweight Dreekus. I did not think it could happen. But
yeah, no shit. Better grappling though, far better grappling.
Better grappling, but just a huge, wild, super confident, dangerous fighter. And apparently he's cleaned up his diet. I kind of thought that maybe like he had literally just wrecked his cardio with his years of super big weight fluctuations. Because you could see like he would come into fights in shape, but like even being in shape against Tony Ferguson, he gassed himself beating Tony Ferguson's ass. But apparently he's stopped all the huge weight fluctuations, and he beat the hell out of Michael Chandler in a really fast-paced, dynamic, scramble-filled fight, and he did not look even a little tired doing it.
Yeah, if you would have been like, oh, Patty's going to take down Chandler, I'd been like, you're high. That's not going to happen. But man, I'm blown away. Yeah. I'm more blown away by his performance than anybody else on this card.
I will say, I saw a lot of people saying this in the live chat. I was doing the biggest ever live chat I've done before, or done to the date. So we had a couple thousand comments today, which is awesome. But some people were saying, and I like the idea, if they're not going to do Topuria Makachev, Topuria Pimblett, do it now. No, come on. It would be a super fun, super huge fight.
It would be. It'd be big.
Pimblett wins. There's no way you deny him a title shot. And Topuria already should be getting a title shot, but if he's not gonna right out of the gate, then that is just about the most fun fight you can hook up for him at lightweight.
I think he should fight, but he's going to be so big out there against Ilya.
So that's Ilya's problem. He gave up the belt to fight at lightweight.
I think he should fight Arman Tsarukyan.
Sure.
You go out there and you
if you
the legit number one contender,
then there's no question that he deserves a title shot.
Arman is the number one contender.
He is.
And I'm fine if Ilya cuts the line and goes ahead of him. Arman had a shot.
Yeah.
He, screwed the pooch, whatever happened. So Patty, Tsarukyan, and there's bad blood there.
But Patty, at that point too, Patty called out Gagey, which...
Oh, yeah. He said Dustin, Justin, Oliveira. He called them all out, and I love that.
Coming off a performance like this, I'm just excited to see it. Like, he may have, his annoying Zoomer-ass personality, but he is... he's been a shitload of fun as a fighter.
Topuria is the only one he didn't call out.
Yeah. Nobody wants to fight Topuria.
Tsarukyan, I think that's the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would look like.
It would look like Tsarukyan wrestling the hell out of Pimblett, whether he was successful or not. I think, that'd be the question. But all right, we got a question too. Is Patty the GOAT meme fighter? There's got to be somebody who's already been champ who's more meme than Pimblett, but he's definitely entering that conversation of a guy that just seemed like he just had this sort of weird gimmick personality going that far. Ben Askren is certainly in that conversation. I'd
put Chael Sonnen in that category.
Chael Sonnen is definitely in that category. But no, I continue to be more and more impressed with Pimblett,
Yeah,
I can't deny it anymore. He's a guy I thought would be like, I thought he'd go a lot further than a lot of people. He got dismissed a lot. I really did think, I was like, okay, you know what? He can pick his way up to the edges of the top 15. He can be an action fighter who like gets onto a ranking in that sort of, you know, Bobby Green, maybe even rise up to Beneil Dariush level kind of thing, get into the very edge of contention. But
he's a title contender.
He's looking like a title contender. And especially with his popularity, the UFC is going to stick him in there. Somebody else asking, do we think washed? Do we think he wasn't good enough? I mean, Chandler has to get washed at some point. He's 38 and he's always fought like a bull.
I think both can be true, right? Like,
yeah,
Chandler can't be washed and Patty could be that good.
Yeah. I think that Chandler is just absolutely, he has been a fighter who for a long time has rested purely on his physicality
100%.
to be, he's always been bad going backward. His cardio has always been questionable, even when he could fight tired really well. And he's getting to an age where it's like that all has to be catching up to him. And it looked like it really did in this fight.
Yeah, and he's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
He just had a kid. He's like, a lot going on in that man's life.
Yeah.
Feel bad for him, too. He missed out on that red panty night. And
then this was his consolation prize.
I can't even remember the last time he won a fight. Was it Ferguson?
It was T-Ferg.
Like, damn, that seems like ages ago.
Yeah, it was only 3 years ago, but that's still, a while. It was 2 losses before that too, so, All right. That brings us to to our featherweight bout. We already talked about it a lot, Yair versus Pitbull. And I knew that this booking could look like this. I was still pretty happy that they gave it to Pitbull, frankly, because it's like, okay, I mean, give him an action fight. He's been great for so long. I didn't really a fight with somebody. The fight he should have gotten should have been Holloway. That would have been the real cool introduction legacy fight to make. But I'm glad it wasn't somebody like Aljamain Sterling, where it's like, maybe you could win that, but it would just be like a guaranteed grind.
Maybe. He might have knocked Aljo out.
Might have, but it would have been dead slow until he did that. Like, he's just not an exciting fighter at this stage of his career. You watch recent Pitbull fights, they're not thrilling. And
it sucks that his nickname's Pitbull because he doesn't fight like one anymore.
No.
But, and it's crazy because his wars with Chandler, I almost want to see them fight again.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's fighting at 45, but
yeah. I also saw, somebody suggested he should fight Jose Aldo. I'd love to see that fight. Honestly.
That's very interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good use of him.
Yeah, I think this was good to give him a chance to jump in and be in the top 5 right away. I think that's reasonable. He deserves that for his career.
Yeah, he's a legend.
And now, you could do, if it lines up right, you could do Holloway, you could do Aljo, you could do Aldo. Those are all fights that I'd still just be happy to see him in,
Isn't Aldo at 35 though?
Yeah, but pay the man extra to come back up to featherweight for a day. Pitbull's a tiny featherweight. They could meet in the middle at a catchweight.
He can't get below 45.
Patricio, he already did. He did a year ago.
Did he?
Yeah, he was fighting in bantamweight against Sergio Pettis in 2023.
What?
Yeah.
That's absurd.
It was his only bantamweight fight, but or no, it was his only bantamweight fight. So,
and he lost it.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Do 140 pounds.
I think I'd rather watch him go up and fight Chandler at 55.
Fair enough. Yeah, you could do that too. That'd be fun. Or you could even, you could put him in there with Emmett. That'd be fun.
Nah. Diego Lopez.
Patricio Pitbull, Diego Lopez.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Both coming off a loss. I know you don't like the same card matchups.
I don't. But yeah, it would be fun. I just, I want to see him fight other old guys that have been around for a while. I don't really want to see him. This was his chance to prove something special. Yair showed him up. Now just give me the legacy fights that we didn't get to see for the past 10 years. That's what I want.
No, I'm with you. I like the Holloways.
Yeah, you could do Brian Ortega too, even. It's fine. That kind of thing.
Yeah, there's good fights out there for him.
Yeah.
But I just hope he doesn't fight like he did tonight. It's disappointing. It's sad.
It's just the way he fights, though, now. Like, he's just a slow-paced vet. He got old, It's the unfortunate part of it. But Yair, yeah, maybe he gets a title shot off of this. If he doesn't, then I would also be fine doing... You could do Yair Evloev if you want to, if he wants to really make his case for that title shot.
Stop bringing up Evloev. Nobody wants to fucking see him fight.
He's 19-0. He's ranked number 4 in that division. It's only gonna be a matter of time before he has to fight somebody.
They could cut him for all I care. You can go hang out with Mokaev. I'm just not interested.
Yeah. Wow. See, they did do he did fight Max Holloway back in 2021. You could
Evloev should fight Yusuf Zalal.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
I know. Get your haters in the same place so you can just skip the whole fight.
Yeah, exactly. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Do a 3-way match, throw
Bautista
in there, yeah.
The losers and winners leave town.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I mean, if Yair doesn't get the title shot, then somebody like Holloway would be fun. You could do a Holloway rematch, or you could do
has he fought
Arnold
Giga yet?
Allen, maybe. Has he fought what?
Giga
Chikadze? Yair? No, but I
need to see that.
Yeah, but I think Giga's booked, and if Yair is on the thinks he's knocking on the door of a title shot, yeah, Giga's booked against David Onama, and coming off a loss. They're not doing. He's not going to fight Giga.
I still need to see it.
Wait 5 years, and when he's washed, then you'll fight. All right. That brings us to the real highlight of the night. John Silva, Bryce Mitchell. And first things first, we got somebody asking, is it alarming that Bryce outstruck John Silva? I think you got to ask what the definition of outstruck is. He landed more strikes. He definitely did not outstrike the man.
No, that's a wild take. You mean volume-wise? He landed more volume?
And I'm not surprised by that at all. John Silva...
Dober probably landed more volume, too.
John Silva's thing is that he is one of the most natural, confident, unconcerned fighters I've ever seen.
Yeah, he has supreme confidence.
That means that there's a lot of dead space in his fights because he does not get his reads the way a lot of fighters do by throwing stuff and then seeing how you react. Silva is very much just out there like having fun and waiting to see what you do that he can pick off.
If you look closely, you can see him drool. Like he sees his prey in front of him. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to eat this."
It's very, very Anderson Silva, very Yoel Romero of him. Like just that ability to have your opponent doing stuff in front of you where they are trying as hard as they can and they're setting up all their moves and they're working on all the stuff they've been doing in camp. And like you can see Bryce is out there like
maximum effort.
Maximum effort. He's kicking the legs, he's throwing the jab, he's doing everything. And then John Silva's just like jumping in with a front elbow right to the forehead and being like, what do you want? You were right there set up for it. Like
when I first heard this fight get booked, my instant reaction was, fuck, Bryce is getting fucked up here. And as I saw the betting odds drop and Silva was a pretty hefty betting favorite. And then like as the fight got closer, the line started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I'm like, who the fuck is betting on Bryce Mitchell here? Right. And then the weigh-ins happened. And I'm like, and Silva missed weight. So he's coming in big. So the one advantage that Bryce might have in the grappling won't be there because he's not getting that takedown. I'm just like, this is easy money right here.
Silva did make weight eventually, it looks like. He's not credited with a weight miss. Yeah.
I thought he missed weight.
Maybe on the first measurement and then came back. I think, because I remember they got out the towel for him and he crawled out from under it.
Yeah.
After he was done.
He got a performance bonus.
Yeah.
Performance of the night.
But yeah, no.
Oh, well, good for him.
John Silva the man is crazy good. And it's pure like I say, it's a lot of Anderson Silva style stuff where it's like you don't really want other fighters can't model their game off of this man. Do not watch him and be like, oh, I'm gonna be that, because there's a lot of blank space. There's a lot of not setting things up. There's a lot of just eating shots because you know you can eat them. A lot of stuff that he is only able to do because he's out there like, dancing around and mooning around. But like in the walk-in, he's just like, you've never seen a fighter that calm.
He fights like an animal.
Yeah.
He fights like that platitude gets thrown around all the time. Oh, he's a savage. He fights like he's an actual animal. Like he doesn't fight like a human who is risk adverse in any way, shape, or form. Like you can tell he doesn't believe he can be beaten. He can be hurt. And I love this. Like, that's what I want to see out of fighters. I don't want to see any timidity. I don't want to see any passiveness. I want to see someone coming out to kill. And that's what he does.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's great. And man, I'm like, I hear you on that feeling of like, maybe Volkanovski holds that belt until he gets there. Like he could walk himself into a loss because he is so confident that he just doesn't care what's going on. It almost feels like he doesn't care what's going on in front of him. And I could see a fighter using that to just like squeak out a points decision against him. It's happened to him before. He's lost fights before.
I think it'll be a long time before that happens.
But yeah, like right now, he beat Bryce Mitchell. He grabbed a ranking spot.
He didn't just beat him. He beat the fucking piss out of him.
Yeah.
Beat the piss out of him and then strangled him. Beat him at his own game. He made him tap out and he still went unconscious. And then he barked in his unconscious face.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? that is tough. Like that's tough.
Yeah. So I say go from that to Lerone Murphy.
No way, Jose. You go
No.
from that to Aaron Pico.
Oh yeah,
That's the
that would be
match.
a sexy fight.
Mm-hmm. Because Pico's got hands, and
Yeah,
he's beatable.
Pico is hungry to get into the cage right now. He's hungry to get into the octagon.
Pico's got the tools to win.
Yeah.
But you can also sleep him. So
no, I would love to see him fight Aaron Pico right now. That would be amazing.
That's the only fight I want for Silva right now. Aaron Pico.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be happy to see him fight Lerone Murphy. I'd be happy to see him fight Yair in the future, and I'd be happy to see him fight. I would be fine seeing him fight the likes of Arnold Allen or Movsar Evloev, but they are the fighters most likely to
stop saying Evloev.
Take that controlled decision from him because he's so willing to. I mean, like I say, the Yoel Romero, I think that's the best comparison for him. And like Yoel Romero was absolutely title contender, hair off championship level, while still losing 3 out of 5 fights at a time, just because he would be in there against Israel Adesanya, scaring the absolute daylights out of him, just standing there like a statue.
Yeah.
So he's in that same kind of territory.
He's special. I'm fine if they put him in there with Josh Emmett.
Yeah, that would be fun as hell.
That'd be a banger.
Get him into high level fights right now, because he humiliated Mitchell out there, and at the very least, that should lock down the idea that he is an elite fighter right now. Because Mitchell is at the very least a very capable, higher level talent. Not
he's ranked.
Yeah, and he's right in there in that same sort of Yusuf Zalal, Dan Ige, borderline top 15 level. And if you're humiliating a fighter like that, that means you have real potential.
Yeah. Let him go fight Pico, and then
I love that idea.
One other fight maybe, and then title shot. He's got the star power, man. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch right now.
No, he is it right now, definitely. So now what the hell do you do with Bryce Mitchell?
Oh boy. Let him fight Aljamain Sterling. I'd be down to watch that grappling match.
Sure. Yeah, that would actually be fun.
As long as they don't fucking strike. But I think they would grapple.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's another good fight for him out there, but he definitely needs to step back into the Hakeem Dawodu sort of Ricardo Ramos veterans, but not elite veterans kind of space. All right. That brings us to a light heavyweight bout, and I have to say it, really and truly, I think Dominic Reyes' dark days are behind him. He is actually back.
He turned a corner. Love to see it.
Yeah, I think I hate to say it because it was such a dispiriting thing to watch happen, but honestly, getting 15 minutes to beat the horribly depressed shell of Anthony Smith was probably the best confidence boost he could ever have. And he came into this fight against Krylov, and he fought like a guy that was not fighting worried anymore.
Stella got her groove back.
Yeah. So.
No, I mean, I was a little concerned when I saw his hair looking all crazy.
Yeah, well,
is he going full emo here? But yeah, breaking that John Jones slump, that's huge. because he's athletic. He's not the most technical guy, but you don't have to be at
Yeah.
205. And as long as you're
Powerful.
athletic and willing to throw,
Yeah.
shit like this happens.
Exactly.
You know
You're
what I
big,
mean?
you're powerful. He's sharp enough. A lot sharper standing than Krylov. But man, the first strikes that Krylov threw, I was like, you need to not strike at all in this fight.
Yeah. I'm
2
shocked.
years on the sidelines.
Honest
Yeah.
to God, I thought he was going to come and look for the takedown.
I
Krylov.
thought so too. I mean, last time, I know it's been a couple years, but last time he was out there, he shot 20 takedowns on like Volkanovski,
Yeah.
He immediately scrambled with Ryan, shot on Ryan Spahn. I thought that would be the thing. I picked Krylov because I was like, you know what? I think he's just going to chain wrestle Reyes all fight as much as he can. And I don't know that Reyes can actually deal with that. I know he's got great hips for like an initial shot. But if Krylov can turn a corner and body lock guys and all that. But no, he looked terrible standing, and he didn't have any way to close the distance. He just was flying in chin first and got crushed. But still.
Physically, Krylov looked great out there. He
did. Oh, yeah.
Massive. Joe Rogan said the Russian steroids.
Yep.
Like, he looked the part.
He did.
But man, he got 205'd out there.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to Reyes, man. That little fadeaway cross.
Well, I'm glad he's back, And that means too, if he's back, that he can fight oh god damn it. He can fight me and my degrading mind. No, he can fight Carlos Ulberg.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the fight.
Yeah. If he's back.
Yeah.
This could be setting him up for more devastation, but maybe not.
Yeah, no, I think that's the fight to make. Reyes Ulberg.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Because, we're probably getting Ankalaev Prochazka or Ankalaev Pereira 2. So Ulberg is just going to be sitting there in that 3 spot with nothing going on.
Yeah. And it's not like he totally dominated Blachowicz in his last outing. So, I mean, I think he should get another. And honestly, you have who's headlining the Azerbaijan card? Hill and Roundtree. I think the winner of that is even further ahead than Ulberg is.
He could be, yeah. I mean, with Hill being a former champ and Roundtree having that great title fight. It's not like Ulberg put on a great performance against
Jan
Blachowicz, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Krylov or Reyes and Ulberg, that's what you have to do here.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great fight.
And Reyes is talking like he wants to be in title contention.
Yeah,
so.
no, I really think that the losses to, honestly, I think it was the Blachowicz knockout followed immediately by the Prochazka knockout. That was just an absolute confidence killer. And that Spahn loss was, only made it worse.
Well,
and,
well, that actually made it better. It was like, because in hindsight, you lose to John Jones. A lot of people think you beat him.
Yeah.
No shame in that, but I can understand being disgruntled. Losing to Blachowicz, fucking champion, not a big deal. Hindsight, Prochazka, a fucking beast, a monster. No shame in losing to these guys. But the power jab, Ryan Spahn, that's the one that doesn't belong there. So for him to bounce back from that, like that takes a lot. That takes a lot.
But I think it's all been mental all the way through, honestly. Like, he's just seemed like a fighter who he seemed like he really got down on himself.
I think it was mental in the Spahn fight.
Yeah.
But like Yair and Jan,
Well,
those
no,
are
no,
just
I
great
mean,
fighters.
not the Jan knockout loss. I think that got to him because it was the first time he'd ever been knocked out. You know, that was suddenly put the scare in him, and then it happened again, and it's like, oh shit, I can get knocked out a lot. And then the Spawn fight really was just like hitting rock bottom. Where
Yeah, that's when you have to do some soul searching and
yeah,
like, is this for me? Is this not for me?
yeah,
But he fucking turned it around.
he did.
Jacoby, solid win. You stopped
Yep.
Jacoby, solid.
And you could tell that was like he was breaking down after that. He was
Yeah,
like, "Oh my god!" And then that Alex and that the Anthony Smith fight it was like, yeah, okay, it sucks that you're having to beat this man who's literally begging you to punch him so he can feel again because he's torn up inside.
sure.
But for a fighter in his position too, that has to feel like, oh, I'm out here, I'm doing this, and I'm commanding it, and I'm not feeling in danger. You know?
The Krylov win, man. This puts him right back. He's right
Yeah.
back there. He was on a nice streak. I don't know if Krylov will ever go on a nice little 3-run streak like he just had.
Yeah. This was supposed to be Krylov's moment, and he blew it. All right. That brings us to a featherweight bout. Dan Ige, Sean Woodson, and
All right, I'm going to go
man,
ahead and say it. All right. This was an early stoppage, but I don't give a fuck. I don't
I
like
agree.
watching Woodson fight. I hate it.
I will say I don't dislike watching him fight,
I do.
but I don't hate the stoppage. It was early stoppage, no question. For MMA though, that's the thing. Is in every other combat sport, if you turtle up like that and you're just getting hit, in boxing, they're going to stop that every time. Like that's in kickboxing, they're going to stop that. They're going to maybe they'll give you a standing count.
Yeah,
But
that's a completely different thing.
but
Because he
I'm
would have
just
gotten
saying,
time to recover.
I'm just saying in every other combat sport, that stoppage is actually pretty normal. In MMA,
I'm gonna
it's
say
a
the opposite. I'm
severely
gonna say
early
in any other
stoppage.
combat sport, it wouldn't have been stopped because he would have had time, his 8 count or whatever, to recover, and it wouldn't have been stopped at all because he was getting up. So only in MMA is this fight stopped.
I've seen boxing fights stopped in way worse situations where guys
Well,
are
that's
just
corrupt. That's corruption that you're speaking.
yeah, but combat sports is corrupt all over. You can't be like,
Well,
oh well, MMA is the one place where it's not corrupt. I mean,
well, it's less corrupt than boxing
okay,
for
fair
sure.
enough, fair
But
enough.
this was an early stoppage, but I'm totally fine with it because I don't like the way Dalsim fights. I just don't. I hate his style. It pisses me off. It's not
Yeah,
fun. He's not heavy-handed. He just tidal waves you with fucking spam. I just don't like it.
the the problem for me is just that he should. I mean, obviously he should fight rangy. He should fight long,
Yeah, but he backs himself
and
up to
just
the cage and like,
he backs himself up to the cage really easily, and he doesn't want to just go out there and lean on a jab the way that somebody built like him should.
he's not a fighter.
He's trying to T-ferg his way through being rangy with all this like Wing
So
Chun like
yeah, he's about to
stuff,
throw sand.
and it's just like, man, just throw the jabs. You're 8 feet long.
Yeah.
Throw the goddamn jabs.
It's like, bro, throw both of your fists at the same time. Like, come on. He's not aggressive.
and you know too, for me, this is a real hate point. This is actually the reason I'm not mad about it. He got his clock absolutely cleaned for throwing a lead rear hand uppercut like a dope.
That's not a dope move.
It is a dope move. If your name is not Canelo Alvarez, if your name is not James Toney, and I see you throwing a rear hand uppercut, leading an exchange with a rear hand uppercut, I am going to think that you might die on the next time you try it.
I'm fine with the move. Everything has a time and a place. But yeah, no, I'm happy that you got that kind of vindication.
Yes. Oh, also though, do you hate Woodson more than Mario Batista?
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
Like there can be course correction for Sean Woodson.
Yeah.
Batista, that ship has sailed. You know what he did to Aldo, unforgivable. He is banished, lifetime ban on Batista.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
well, I had Ige up 2 rounds, and the judges, all
even the
3 judges,
judges did. I
had him.
thought Woodson would be up too. I didn't.
You're out of your minds. I cannot score that kind of volume. I can't score it.
Look. I'm not saying that you can score it. I'm just saying I expect every judge to score it.
You're wrong. No one should score that. You should score the damaging blows. Woodson wasn't being damaging out there. He was
Yeah,
like
but
he's like shadow boxing.
Ige didn't drop him. Didn't really rock him. I just figured that the
He hit
judges
him
would.
harder.
That I don't deny that at all. He definitely hit him harder, and I
That's the
thought
name of the game is damage.
and
That's
I thought that there was a good argument that Ige could have won at least one of those rounds. I was just pretty shocked that all 3 judges gave him both of those first 2 rounds.
I was so happy to see that. I was like, okay, judges, way to be.
Spiritually, I'm totally fine with it.
It should be the norm. So yeah, it's good to see Woodson get blocked from the top 15. I don't think he's that good. That's why I picked Ige here. His style's whack.
I picked Woodson because I figured he would, even not
Ew.
fighting to his strengths as a long fighter, he would just be too big and too rangy and pick on Ige too much.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I am not even a little bit. The shame I have for myself has nothing to do with that. So many other things I can be ashamed of myself for.
Yeah, I'm happy for Ige though.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the go-to upset guy. Like if he's an underdog, I'm gonna be looking at him.
You know what they need to do next now?
With Ige?
Tiny featherweight battle. Dan Ige, Nathaniel Wood.
Yeah, Wood's coming off a pretty impressive win over
Morgan
Chartier.
Charrier. Yeah.
Yeah, Charrier. Yeah. Yeah, that could be a banger.
That'd be great.
I like that.
So.
Yeah, good call.
All right. On that note, women's strawweight bout, Verna Jandiroba, Yan Xiaoan, and I know it was a grappling battle. I know it was a style clash. I know it was not full of brutal offense. Still really enjoyed this fight a lot.
I liked it. What I really liked was when Virna had the back and she was throwing all those fucking weird wonky elbows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. She's like, all right, you want to defend the choke? Okay. I'm just going to elbow the piss out of you.
I just love how much more confident she's gotten in her game over the years, where it used to be fighting athletes like Xiaoan. She'd get in there and they would shuck her off or hit her, do something to stop her, and her momentum would just stop. And she has gotten so much better at fighting through the offense of her opponents and at figuring out exactly what she needs to do to make her game work. I don't know that this, there was still plenty of times here where it just felt like Xiaoan was the better athlete and Jandiroba had the process to fix, to get around that. Yeah. So I don't know that I necessarily come out of this thinking, oh yeah, Jandiroba is going to do great in a fight with Weili Zhang.
I think she'll do about as well as Tatiana Suarez did against Weili. She might take a round, maybe.
But I also think she really deserves the chance.
Absolutely. She deserved the chance before this fight.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
She's put together a 5-fight run. She's the one contender in that division, ready to go right now. And, fighters deserve... When you get to a certain level, I feel like the mechanism should always allow for a fighter to have a certain amount of success and get to a title.
It's division dependent, right? So If you have
For
a
you it
shallow
is.
division like this one, yeah, it's shallow, then sure, merit based. When you're in the most exciting division, like 145 pounds, and you're stinking up the joint, I don't give a fuck how many fights you win in a row. I would much rather see other people who are exciting hop the line.
Yeah.
That's a shot at evil.
I get it, but I think there should always be that mode for the John Fitches of the world to get their one crack.
Didn't he get 2 shots?
No, he absolutely did not. He
Was it
got
just
one
one?
shot, and then the next time he lost a fight, they cut his ass immediately.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, and believe me, I always hated John Fitch. Not the person, just the fighter.
Yes, I do believe that of you.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, whenever someone was nut hugging, we would call it fitching somebody. Like,
yes. And it was the popular meme. It's like getting nail marked. Nobody knows what that means anymore, but in its day, the meaning was so clear.
yeah.
Now we call it Rashad face.
Damn.
Right? All right. Now, even that's probably too old for the kids out there.
You talking about the Machida fight?
Was it the Machida fight where he got like knocked out back over his leg and had yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to a lightweight bout. Chase Hooper, Jim Miller, and guess I'm glad that Jim Miller didn't have to die so Chase Hooper could live. You know, it wasn't a absolute ass beating. It wasn't like Chase Hooper went all Patty Pimblett on Jim Miller the way that, you know, Patty Pimblett did on Michael Chandler out there, where you just like, oh God. It was just okay, Jim is probably just getting too old to fight somebody this young.
No, 100%. And ton of respect for Hooper for, you know, hitting the slick, going to the truck position. Like, I'm gonna work for this calf slicer, heel hook, you know, twister attempt. Like, that's cool. It's like, I got this man beat. Let me have some fun out here and try to do some cool shit. Maybe I'll get a highlight. Maybe I won't. Either way, this one's in the bag. I'm gonna do some cool shit.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that.
And then afterward, he called out Fares Ziam, which is great. Woo!
Bro, the respect for Chase Hooper is just exponentially growing. Like,
then he called out here, Tom Nolan, which is terrible.
You softly beat Jim Miller, right? Yeah. You get on the mic. You say you spent too much time gooning, so your forearms are burned out. Hell yeah. And then you're like, you know what? I'm done fighting old guys. Respect.
Yeah.
Calls out the fucking, what is he? The smile killer? Or what is he? What's his nickname?
Yeah, the smile killer for RCM.
Yeah. Like, that's a ballsy call out.
Mm-hmm.
That is a balls. He might get his shit wrecked in that fight. But I love when fighters call out the dangerous guy.
Yeah, and that's a fight he's ready for. Somebody like Ziam, or, you know, like a Claudio Puelles or something like that. Like somebody that's had some serious. I was also thinking like a Thiago Moises or something. Somebody who has had some serious success in that division and isn't out of their prime, clearly.
No, Ziam is firing on all cylinders.
Ziam is firing on all cylinders. That's a great fight. Do not make the Tom Nolan fight, UFC. I know he asked for that, and I know Tom Nolan had a big win last time out.
Yeah, he looked good in his last fight.
But that's a garbage call out.
It is very random.
Yeah.
Like, why is that even in the Rolodex of people you could fight?
Exactly.
Not a Ziam fight. Oof.
Yeah, and I love, too, that, like, I mean, one of the things you got to recognize with Hooper and with Pimblett both is they have both gotten a ton better, and they are both fighters who've had some of the best managed careers in the UFC. Like, these are guys who always have names. They always have fights that they want. They are often fights that feel very winnable and sometimes too winnable, where you're like, oh, come on. You should be taking a bigger step up than that. But they're also the guys that are clearly getting the chance to get better fight to fight and exceeding the potential people thought they had. You know?
I mean, I would say he has as much potential as I thought he had.
Chase Hooper.
Yeah,
Well, a lot of people, when he got to the UFC, a lot of people thought he was a joke washout. Like,
not me. He's for how talented for how talented he was when he arrived and how young he was. Like all I saw was a big ball of potential. Like he doesn't even have grown man strength, and his jujitsu is fucking beautiful.
it is very fun.
It's beautiful. So that alone, I felt like would carry him a long way.
But yeah, I like the intentionality with which he's handling his career, and I think it is allowing him to improve a lot and really to enter his fights pretty confident that he's been able to not just prepare for the fight, but work on stuff in the fight. You're not doing the thing where like Steve Erceg is doing right now, where he's only fighting elite killers, and you can see every fight he's having to do so much work just to make sure he's ready for the fight at all. And he's not actually getting any better. Like,
Pimblett talks about that all the time. Remember, he could have got signed to the UFC a long time ago, and he was like, "No."
He took an extra lap in Cage Warriors for it.
Yeah, and got better because of it. And look at him now. Like, good on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a Chase Hooper fan. He's my respect for him is just going through the roof.
Otherwise, that brings us to the real, true, depressing
Well,
night.
hold on. What do we do with Jim Miller?
Oh, well, I mean, if he's going to keep fighting, then, and I know he will, you can either match him up with another young gun looking to just prove somebody you could something. You could do the Tom Nolan fight or something like that, or do Esteban Ribovic, who lost to Nasrat Haqparast or something like that.
Oof! Don't
Put
do
him
that
in
to
with
Jim Miller.
Otherwise, or well,
he needs like a Legends fight. He needs like an old.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see. Is there an actual Legends fight for him in that division? He hasn't already had twice.
Yeah, true.
He fought Bobby Green.
He's still sleeping.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever fought Drew Dober. This might be the time for that.
Ooh. That kind of scares me for Miller.
Yeah, I don't know. That's about as good as I got.
Yeah.
You could do Carlos Diego Ferreira. He hasn't fought him.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Ferreira's 40.
Yeah, there we go.
That'd work.
I knew you had it in you.
There we go. All right. That brings us to our big depressing moment of the night. Julian Arosa, Darren Elkins. And I had a premonition. A lot, it's one of those things like first blush, you're like, oh yeah, Arosa, Elkins, they're both really well-traveled vets. Arosa's actually had more fights than Darren Elkins. Can you believe that?
No. Not at the same level.
Oh yeah, they should be on like reasonably even footing. And I just had a premonition going, it's like Julian Arosa is gonna kill Darren Elkins. People don't think of Julian Arosa that way, but when Julian Arosa is in a fight where he's not in danger of getting slept at all, Julian Arosa is a killer. And if there's one guarantee you could have in this fight, it's that Darren Elkins was never in his life going to knock out Julian Arosa.
No, you're right. This was sad. Elkins, ever since that up kick, Elkins looked defenseless. Yeah. They could have stopped it right then, and I would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like from then on out. And I got to say, historically, Elkins is the one guy that if you don't put him away, he can come back and bite you in the ass. Like he can be that guy. So credit to Arosa for just hanging back, picking his shots, being calm, not blowing it, and just getting him out of there. You know, he put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
Properly.
This was it felt like a real mercy killing out there. So great, solid, great performance from Arosa, but for Elkins, like,
I don't want to see it anymore.
I don't want to see it anymore either.
Yeah.
If the UFC is going to keep putting him in the cage, then they need to have a pension prepared for him, because I am not like you are doing this against any good advice. Like, doctors should not be clearing this man to fight. Unquestionably.
Yeah.
And if the UFC is going to find people that will, if he can find people that will clear him to fight, and the UFC gives him fights, then they need to be setting him up with, like, they need to get him on that Chuck Liddell kick where he can just go hang out on a couch in Dana White's office and they'll cut him checks.
But he only has clout with the hardcores.
Yeah,
that's the problem with that.
No, I mean, I know it's not going to happen. I'm just saying, like, there has to come a point where there needs to be some ethics at play here, where you say, we can't ethically book you anymore, even if you tell us you want to do it.
Or, like, he was coming off of a 2-fight winning streak going into this. But, like, only book him against grapplers.
Only book him in grappling matches.
There you go.
Fight Pass Invitational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. No, this was depressing.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse from here.
No. All right. On that note, we got a middleweight bout. Michael Oleksiejczuk, Cedric Dumas. And
saw this one coming.
Yeah. I worried because Oleksiejczuk is capable of imploding. It feels like a bit against just about everybody. He has that in his game. Like, when he starts to lose, he goes from, oh, that didn't go well, to I am now utterly defeated in every possible way in, like, a heartbeat. But I was also like, I gotta pick Oleksiejczuk. I cannot. Cedric Dumas is bad. This should not happen. He should not be able to implode against somebody like this. So,
yeah, I had a lot of confidence in him. Dumas, he looked like an amateur out there, like those overreactions. And I mean, let's be honest, Oleksiejczuk
so close.
Dropped him with a fucking WWE clothesline.
Yeah.
He clotheslined him, bro. A clothesline? You want a UFC fight with a clothesline? That's
the fighting nerds right there.
Yeah. They got the sauce, man. It's
do.
Like they stole Paulo Costa's fucking secret juice.
Yeah. So, good win for him. Fun fight. I don't really care who he fights next at this point. He's,
He called out Paul Craig.
Oh, yeah. Sure, shit. Do that.
Yeah, it's like the one way he loses is like submissions. And he's like, let me fight Paul Craig.
Why not? I'm up for it.
He might be booked. Is he booked?
Paul Craig? Let me see.
I don't know. I thought I saw him booked for some reason. Maybe not.
Paul Craig is booked. He's booked against Rodolfo Bellato.
Okay.
So, whatever. Oh, and that's back. I think Paul Craig went back up to light heavyweight even. So, not only is Craig booked, but he's not even in his division anymore.
I thought Mikhail fought at light heavyweight also.
He did before, but he's down at.
It was a while ago.
He's been at middleweight for a while, and he's a pretty small middleweight even.
Yeah, true.
So,
strange call out.
Yeah. I don't know. Put him in against Bruno Ferreira. There's a good fight.
We'll see another fucking triangle from the bottom, or armbar, or whatever the hell he did last time.
All right.
The Hulk Jiu-Jitsu.
That brings us to a flyweight bout. Sumadari, Mitch Raposo, and
this is the lamest split decision I've ever seen in my entire life. Not because it's wrong. It's just a shit ass fight where I'm just like, why is anyone even scoring this? It's a waste of a split decision, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how you scored it for Raposo. He was passive.
Raposo is
repassive.
Yes. He's got I was talking to somebody today who apparently lives near where he trains, and they're saying that he trains out of a real small camp that's really boxing focused, which if you watch all of his old fights, all he does is box. And it probably explains why in this, because he's a former amateur wrestler, so he's got all the wrestling credentials, but it also explains why there's no connection to his striking and wrestling at all. So he came out here and tried to wrestle Sumadari, and he just doesn't have any of the tools to go with that. It doesn't.
You know what this fight felt like? It felt like a training drill for Raposo.
Yeah.
Okay, for 15 minutes, we're going to work on you hanging out on the outside, and this guy's just going to throw a jab. And when you see your opportunity, shoot your double. And reset and do it again.
It really felt like
the whole fight. A training drill, like a live training drill.
I rarely say this because everybody seems to go there, and fighters don't tend to get a lot better there, but Raposo really needs to go to Team Alpha Male.
That's where Sumadari trains?
Is that where Sumadari puts his time in stateside? Yeah. Among other places, he also apparently has trained at American Top Team, and then his home gym is Enbo. But the Team Alpha Male style is take you down, immediately transition to strikes or submissions, and then if those don't work right away, let him back up, hit him while they're getting up, and take him down again. And he desperately is a 5'3" flyweight. He desperately needs that kind. He needs a lot more Chad Mendez in his game.
Or go train with Aljo.
Sure. Well, yeah, you could be an actually good camp and get good, but I'm just trying to think of like an easy tack on to his game because he's got the boxing, he's got the wrestling, but there's no connection to them at all. And he just needs that at least to learn that sort of.
But that's a sign of a non-natural. He's just not a natural at it. You know?
Yeah.
He doesn't have that phase shifting. Like John Silva. He's a natural.
Yeah. No, I mean John Silva's the most natural of as natural gets. Like
he seems so it's like he's like aroused out there when he fights. That's the best way I can describe it.
And how mad he gets when people don't like high five him and like get engaged in his whole like brotherly love. I'm about to kill you in a really nice way.
Yeah.
Thing.
Oh, he was offended.
Yeah.
he was offended that Mitchell wouldn't shake his hand after all the shit that Silva was talking.
All right. That brings us to a middleweight bout. Marco Tulio, Trayshawn Gore, and man, ever since Gore, he won. Did he win that season of Tough?
Nah.
No, he got to the finals of that season of Tough, I think it was. And ever since then, I think he got injured before, like he was supposed to be a finalist and got hurt. I think is what it was. Something like that. I don't know. Ever since then, though, I've just been like, man, this guy is simply not experienced enough to fight at this level. He does not have the cage time. He does not have the reps, and it shows all the time. And this felt like a perfect example of that. I mean, Marco Tulio was fucking flowing out there.
Bro.
He was in his Mike Winklejohn element, doing all the pulling out all the goofy, spinny tricks out at range. Just, you know.
Yeah,
I know that's not his team, but like
he threw everything he knew how to throw.
Yeah.
He threw everything. Like spinning kick to the body, step in elbow, spinning elbow, punch in the body, stiff jab.
Yeah.
Body kick, head kick. Every tool came out.
But it's otherwise. It's not like he should technically or physically be a huge step above Gore. But Gore was just deer in the headlights. Like, I have no idea how to deal with this at all.
But he did for the first round. Like, Gore did really well in that first round. Like, he looked sharp. He came out sharp, pressuring. His boxing looked crisp. You know, he hurt Tulio. Like, he looked sharp for like a good several minutes in that opening round.
I mean, he landed 13 strikes to 77 from Tulio in that round.
Yeah, but he started hot. Like, he looked good. He
looked good for a minute, and then Tulio started to flow on him, and he was just shell-shocked.
Yeah, I mean, once he got dropped.
Well, I think just he had a couple moments where Tulio was just running into stuff, and he's just going out there and like walking forward and throwing shit. Like,
yeah,
Gore, was able to hurt him, but it was all just like, try to get something out in front of me because I have no clue what's going on here. Like, this is way too much.
He looked good for a little bit.
For a moment.
For a little bit there in the first round. I think he looked solid.
Man, Tulio is credited with landing 70% of his strikes. 72%. I don't think I've ever seen a fighter credited with that high a landing percentage in a fight where they also threw more than 100 strikes.
Yeah, and it went past a round and a half.
Yeah. So
he was on one.
He was seriously on one. All right. That brings us finally to
he called out Marvin Vettori. Tulio did.
Sure, whatever. I don't care who Marvin Vettori fights. He's not getting that fight, but
no, he's not getting it. But he's aiming high.
He is, yeah. That brings us finally to a women's bantamweight bout, although Nora Quinonez missed weight, I believe.
Again?
Yeah. So it was technically a featherweight bout, but against Haley Cowan, and man, Haley Cowan is the definition of offensively anemic. I was worried after the first time. I was like, man, she can't just get on top of her and hold her down. This is going to be really unfortunate to have to watch that.
Sure.
But it is the most blanket, no punching, no grappling, no nothing kind of offense. So I was really pleased when she missed that hip toss in the second round and dragged Quinonez on her back. I needed that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't expecting much out of this one. I know that.
Yeah. So,
I thought it was a shit fight. Like, even though there was a finish,
glad it ended inside the distance.
Sure.
Didn't have to watch 3 rounds of that.
Of hanging on.
Yes.
3 rounds of hugging.
Still, though,
aggressive hugging.
The best cards out there have a mix of everything. You got to get your big stoppages, get a couple boring fights, you get a couple weird things. I'm even good with something depressing in there. You get your Arosa Elkins depression moment. I feel bad. And then you're picking me right back up with EA knocking out Sean Woodson,
which even had the funky,
which had the
early
controversy.
Stoppage, which
I'm
Reyes,
totally Krylov, all that. This card had everything. It was just a ton of fun.
Oh, Amanda Nunes got inducted into the Hall of Fame
and announced her comeback, apparently, which is probably very conditional on Juliana Pena winning the title.
I don't know. I think she can come back and beat either one.
I mean, I think she can too, but I think mostly she just has such deep hatred for Juliana Pena that anytime that woman is holding the belt for any length of time, Amanda Nunes is going to threaten to come back.
Could be. Could also be a legacy thing. Like, hold on, Harrison.
Yeah.
You're not going to come up in here take any of my shine.
Yeah. But this is a fun card. All top to bottom. Enjoyed all of it.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Volkanovski's the fucking champion again.
Yep.
Never in a million years would I have thought that we'd be saying that in where are we in? April of 2025.
Yeah. Here it is. On that note, thanks everyone.
Wait. Does this make Volk the GOAT at 45? Aldo still has it?
I mean, God, that division, it's too hard to call, man. It's impossible.
I like it though.
I love it too. No, it's
You
great
can make
for
a
that.
case for a couple different guys.
Especially now you have Topuria doing the same McGregor thing. Like you just get these like weird lightning bolt blasts in the middle of it to like totally fuck up some legend and then be gone. And so like Topuria has no argument for being the greatest featherweight of all time if he never comes back there. Just like McGregor has no argument for being the greatest featherweight of all time.
Well, McGregor has no argument for being the greatest anything of all time, other than the outside the octagon stuff.
Yeah. Well. All right. On that note, we're starting to get sidelined.
True.
For those of you watching, subscribe down below. You can find our link right there to our Substack. Kick some cash my way. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Zane Simon and on Substack and on Blue Sky at Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on all places at the Eddie Mercado. And over on his Instagram as well, making pics and all that good stuff.
The Grizzly.
And we'll be coming at you guys with just a little bonus content for the Substack listeners. So if you are a Substack listener, tune in for that. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.
Adios.